what I mean?
We haven't, none of us have been getting much sleep recently. We're all just absolutely knackered. I've got this, I was just talking to my friend Lee. His parents have got COVID, you know, and they're triple vax. Lots of people have got COVID. We know quite a few people with COVID.
Yeah.
And do you remember last week I was so ill with that terrible headache that just wouldn't go. Had a cold just before that. I've got this really bad chest now. And I think one of two things. I think I either had COVID again, and it's just, you know, I did the test yesterday, but I haven't. It was negative. And so maybe it's gone on for too long. Or I think, and this is what a lot of people I know are saying, that since COVID, everything we get it a bit worse.
Yeah, I read something somewhere that said Victorian diseases are behaving mysteriously since COVID. Victorian diseases? What do they mean by Victorian diseases? What's a Victorian disease? What is a Victorian
Well, it's just like normal viruses, like colds and stuff. So I was just talking to my boss. He said he's been feeling really ill as well. He felt it was like COVID. You feel like it's COVID. And Kiki's been really ill. And she again said the headache was like when she had COVID. So...
Yeah, so, I mean,
anyway.
Look, all sorts of things have been played silly buggers with. Thank you. Firstly, just a couple of housekeeping points. Nanny and I would like to say an enormous thank you for all of your messages of support, condolences, happy birthdays. It's been a curious time for so many different reasons. And it's also got in the way of us doing a lot of things, like the final batch of members' cards. We're going to go, so many things have just slipped back. So we apologise for that, but it's due to all sorts of mitigating circumstances. And we have been off the channel completely for, I think, the longest we ever have been. So, yeah, so sorry that you've not had anything, but...
We've missed you.
We've missed you too. So, but it was just it's kind of required recharge needed in lots of different areas and for lots of different things. But yeah, you sound bad, don't you? You seem to be getting worse.
No, I'm not. No? Different symptoms get worse. Like the headache has gone. The achy body that I had over the weekend, that's gone. But it's my chest now. Just every time I breathe in, it hurts. But I'll be fine.
Sorry, Lee, to hear about you. You've got cellulitis in your feet, Lee Durrant. Poor thing. God, how does that manifest itself?
I don't know what that is.
That's what Chi-Chi had. Cellulitis, wasn't it? Cellulitis that Chi-Chi had? Yeah.
But we never really got to
didn't really understand what it does, what it did. Absence makes the heart grow fond. Oh, bless you, good ship lollipop. I'm gonna put a poll up. I've missed doing my polls.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm off. How can I ask the question about Rwanda?
Do we really want to turn our back on? A lot of people are conflating the Human Rights Act with being in Europe, right? It's a different thing. The Tories are trying to play a game here by trying to say, God, the rest of Europe is still trying to tell us how to behave. But actually, these are really important laws and rights that were fought for and very clever people brought about.
Well, we signed up to we created the European Court of Human Rights. We were part of the creators.
I was listening to that on Radio 4 this morning because I never really understood. I know European, what's the actual title, Mark?
European Court of Human Rights.
Yeah, which is a great thing and protects us from all sorts of things in our daily lives.
Yeah, but can I just say,
I was hearing about on Radio 4 today.
Right.
And we've broken some of the rules in that. Is this right, Mark, what I'm saying?
Well, the European Court of Human Rights stopped the flight happening. So yes, there is a cause for concern. I'm sure it's being appealed again. No, the thing that strikes me even less than just the strict legality, which I don't know what the strict legality is.
No, but I didn't finish to what I was saying. The way that it's being presented to us is that Europe, when we were a member of Europe, was always telling us what to do. Yeah. And we wanted our sovereignty and we wanted our right to make our own decisions. And somehow this geezer from another country has told us who can be in our country and hasn't. And that's actually a very deceitful in a way. It's disingenuous because that's not the case. We are part of the European Convention of Human Rights. Court of Human Rights. And we have bent the rules on that and they want to look at it
No.
in more detail.
What I think is going on is, I think what the government are trying to do is that if this is why it's an embarrassment being British today. And Truss, if I see Truss once more in the press go, anyone who queries anything, why don't you just we're getting back to the thing of if you don't agree with the system, go and live in Russia. This
Yeah,
is
it's
ludicrous. This is a
terrible.
really frightening turn of events. We're suddenly back to, if you agree with anything that anyone in Europe says, you're against Project Britain.
It's just
what are we so
shocking.
exceptional that no one else has any ideas that have any merit? And what gets me a little bit about this, well, a lot about this Rwanda policy thing, is that it doesn't seem to matter who objects to it or how they object to it or whether it's legal or not. What makes this government and this country, through this government, feel that they are untouchable in all regards? What is our exceptionalism?
We won't ask you what you think, and then when we can't do what we want, we will change the rules. Oh my God, I don't have the eloquence or the education to repeat this extraordinary man talking on Radio 4 this morning. I was just, he was just talking about how important it is that we play the game in a thoroughly British way, which is to respect the rules. He said, we are becoming more and more of a laughing stock around the world. And we are now becoming a country that can't be trusted. Because what they're doing with the Irish situation where they had another brilliant guy talking about how by trying to just change the rules that they were part of making again, it's just, we are starting to look like a laughing stock and somebody you can't do business with.
Gaynor Wilson, 444 illegal immigrants arrived yesterday, thus proving that the Rwanda policy isn't a preventative measure.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't that prove that it doesn't work?
The only thing that is going to work to stop these heartbreaking journeys across the channel in these, like, God, you can't even, most of them seem to be paddling pools, is to have a proper system for processing refugees. They had a refugee specialist lawyer on today, and he was saying he spoke to all these people. He said they are all going to be granted refugee status. They are all genuine refugees. One from Ethiopia, from Syria, from wherever. He said, but what we're going to do is put them through purgatory. We're going to send them to hell, where they're going to have to fight at the cost of millions to us here, and they are going to be granted because you can see quite clearly they are genuine refugees, and they're going to come back and live there. We're playing it.
I personally think that all countries have immigration. There's a difference between asylum seekers, refugees, and immigration.
Yeah.
I wonder whether what should happen here is, because obviously everyone gets extraordinarily aerated about the idea that we can only take so many people. True, you can only keep taking so many people, but I think what's the problem here is that those numbers are often dramatically hyperinflated.
Yeah.
The scale of the problem is magnified. The causes of the problem are never acknowledged, which is world inequality and climate change and all these other things that we are all collectively responsible for anyway. There's an idea that Europe doesn't take any responsibility. I think most of Europe takes more people than we do. But I wonder whether some of the solution is, rather than allowing any migration, you just say that everyone that is allowed into the country through the immigration policy, not the asylum seeking policy, everyone who's allowed in through immigration are asylum seekers.
I don't understand.
Well, you've got immigration,
Yeah.
which is people applying to come to here, not for any other reasons, not necessarily
They
economic
come to
reasons.
work
They
here,
come
they
all
come
of those.
to-
Why not replace the amount of those people you allow to come in legally with the ones that are seeking genuine asylum?
Because people would argue that those people you're allowed to come in genuinely are going to serve the country in the way that somebody that arrives needing to be housed, needing to be, supported. Whereas I think what you're talking about with the immigration is people that say, I want to come and be a doctor here. I want to come and be a nurse.
Yeah, but I just wonder whether we could
argument.
fold the number of people that's coming through asylum, that are entering through asylum, into the immigration numbers, so that we can get less, so it can be less of a hot potato.
Yeah.
So that we're not
I see what you're saying, but I've never heard any single person say that.
Is there a distinction between immigration and asylum seeking? And admittedly, if people are too traumatised because they're asylum seekers to come here and work, then clearly they're justified asylum seekers because they're too traumatised.
But Mark, what do you think about this? There was a Tory MP desperately trying to backpedal after what Boris had said yesterday, which was we may have to change the rules. What does he mean?
Who said they need to change the rules? Boris.
No, Boris. But the fact that the European Court of Human Rights isn't agreeing with him, so he's going to have to change something. What does he mean by that? Does he mean we would pull out of our agreement?
Well, there's talk that we perhaps shouldn't be a member of the European Court of Human Rights.
So he is saying that?
Yeah, there's a possibility. I mean, look, the Tories have nailed their entire next election reputation.
We should be really scared of that.
But they've nailed their reputation to this policy because they know that there's a low-level racism in the country that they can forever appeal to.
They're tapping in, they're throwing red meat.
And I would say that the vast majority of people who are racist in this country would never admit that they're racist, but they
might not even know they're racist.
Might not even know they're, but would quietly sign up to this and vote for the Tories. That's the, so come what may, they will make this happen. The flights will take off and they will be heading off.
But also because a lot of people don't understand the European Courts of Human Rights. They're just hearing Europe. They're still telling us what to do. That's where Boris is really clever. He's trying to whip up that same feeling pre-Brexit to get this for them to support something that is totally
it'll play to his hand, the idea that Europe
but there's a lot of very...
The fact that Europe has blocked this flight is brilliant for him and the whole
exactly,
Brexit
that's what
and
I mean,
Project Fear and all that kind of
that's
stuff.
why we have to really understand that there's distinction here. We are signed up. This is a whole set of laws and rules and regulations to protect us from all sorts of things, So...
But
there's lots of clever people.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can live your life along the lines of everything said in Europe by Europeans is wrong.
Yeah.
And everything we say is wrong. I just don't understand that kind of... I don't understand. And just because I can hear you, Catherine Klaus, and I know Denmark are doing the same. Again, it doesn't make it right.
No, it doesn't make it right. I think it's just as bad that Denmark's doing it.
It also doesn't mean that there doesn't need to be a solution. But have a debate, have a discussion, explore other options. I don't know. There's something, especially if you send someone who's gay to Rwanda. I mean, it's just, this isn't going to work.
Be good.
It's not going to work.
And apparently they're about to go to war with Congo.
Wow.
So we're saying on the radio the other day. So it could end up being a war-torn country. Oh my God, to think that we're going to send people traumatised, threatened, we're going to send them off. Oh, honestly, it makes me sick to my stomach. I could literally cry my eyes out.
This is interesting. Look, Kevin Harper, I worked on the Channel Tunnel when it opened. Freight trains were like passenger trains for illegal immigrants and the police didn't even report the numbers. So many more here than figures show. That's interesting.
Somebody said
That's
yesterday...
That's interesting. Thanks for that sort of insight.
Tom Tuckenhort, I can never say his second name. He said, what we need in this country, this was his plan, is... I forgot to tell you about this, is ID cards. He said, because we don't have ID cards in this country, we are not protected from that. And they also aren't protected from people that come in and are under the radar. What do you think of that?
Well, no, I just want to get... fraudulent ID cards, no?
Well, he seems to think that that's how they control a lot of the problems in other countries is with ID cards.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, isn't one of the key things here? Let's test this Rwanda policy by the Tories' own standards that they're using for it. That it will discourage people being smuggled across the channel. Jason Binion, highest number of illegal immigrants across the channel yesterday. So even in the terms within which it was created, and the point... Did you hear also that Priti Patel, the head of British borderland forces, or whatever, the head, has been trying to get a face-to-face meeting with Priti Patel for 14 months, unsuccessfully.
Oh, yeah, apparently...
She keeps delaying or postponing the meeting.
Apparently there is no relationship whatsoever. And apparently, France have offered this processing system of refugees in France before they come out, and she hasn't answered, she hasn't had the discussion. So, I mean, that's just shocking.
I'd like to know...
So we can't keep saying, well, France aren't doing anything. France aren't doing it. France will say they are trying very hard to have a conversation with Priti Patel. And I really didn't like the way she said, well, straight away we're making plans for the next flight. Well, hang on a minute. At the moment, it stands that you are breaking laws that you shouldn't be. So can we just wait instead of... Because, they're chartering planes... They have to pay for those. Apparently, somebody said that will have cost $250,000 yesterday, that cancelled plane.
Joe Ward, it was my little sister's 18th birthday on Monday. Please could you wish Abby a happy birthday?
Happy birthday to you, Abby. Happy birthday to you, Abby. Happy birthday, dear Abby. Happy birthday to you. Lee's here.
I was on a date with a guy the other day and he works with Priti Patel. I said, what's she really like? He said, you know how the media paint her out to be a bully? Well, she's worse. Is that a joke? It was told like a joke, wasn't it? But if that's true, oh my God.
Well, listen, she was found guilty of bullying.
No, I know.
And Boris said, let's all gather round the Pritster and make sure that she keeps her job, and he changed the rules.
But you know, all of the people, most of the people in cabinet, they're all gonna stick close to Boris because they know that in any other set of circumstances
they wouldn't get a job
they wouldn't be in the cabinet.
Useless.
Oh, totally, truly. Oh my God, load of insight. Oh, blimey.
What else? What else did he say?
You can't say it on here. It's inside information. The bit that I really resent is Liz Truss weaponising any form of debate or questioning. So if you ask any question, you're somehow Ramona and all that kind of stuff. No, let's get on with it. It'd be really interesting to understand why we're struggling the most of all countries and whether Brexit is in any way a part of that. But look, let's get on with it. Let's crack on with it. But it doesn't mean everything that's said in Europe is wrong. This is a ludicrous line of intellectual analysis.
Intelligent people trying to have intelligent conversations.
But Boris is intelligent too. I mean, this is
no, but he's
low
drunk
level
on
nonsense.
Power. He can see nothing of what he's actually doing and the behaviour and the way that he looks to the rest of the world.
Okay, well that's Rwanda. That's going to rumble and rumble. It'll be interesting to see if they can get a plane off the forecourt today.
Well, you know, it's another £250,000 if they don't.
Yeah. Met Office, heat wave. We can't ignore the heat wave. Temperatures are going to hit 34 degrees this week. And I just thought we could talk about what are some of the heat wave solutions? What are the best solutions for staying cool in terrible, terrible heat?
He said she will randomly walk into the office of civil servants screaming, "You're all effing useless," and walk out. Priti Patel.
Objectionable person.
Well, it was proven absolutely that she was a bully, but she's still in the job, and she's bullying traumatised people to go up and send them off to Rwanda.
Paddling pool. Let's get to some innocent things here. Good ship lollipop. Paddling pool. That's nice. Yeah, a little paddling pool. Do you remember paddling? Do I remember paddling pools as a kid? I don't know if I do. Do you remember we used to set out the paddling pool with water and washing up liquid, and the girls would just slide through it?
Pool? When we were kids, we would play. Mum would say, you can get the hose out, and it'd be like, oh my God. And we would play for hours with that hose, spraying. And we did the same with our kids.
Yeah, we did.
Running back and forth,
my nan and granddad used to have one of those ones that would do
paddling pool. Whereas many of you know, all I've ever really, really wanted, even if I had a teeny, weeny house, I would love a swimming pool so much. All my happiest times were in water when I was a kid. Playing in the paddling pool, playing with the thing. When we used to go to Jordan for the summer, and we would stay in the most ghastly places, but my uncle would stay in really expensive hotels, so we used to sneak in and use their pool, and we would play all day in the pool. It's my favourite thing, is the sun and to swim or the sea.
Sprinklers were so fun. And you'd get that rainbow in the sky, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
As it was going, you'd be like, oh, look at the rainbow.
Yeah, but we did with our kids, we did the slip and slide.
Yeah, slip and slide.
I had to say to Stacey the other day, I texted her, I said, I'm going to have to unfollow you. I can't watch your pool anymore. She's tormenting me with that pool.
But it also got me to thinking about, Hazel Malbon, thank you for taking us there. Oh, look, Beryl McNally says Navalny has vanished from a Russian prison.
Has he escaped?
No, I think I don't think he's escaped. I think quite the opposite.
He might have escaped.
Babe, you will not escape a Russian prison if you're Navalny.
Depends if you've got people on the inside.
This isn't Stranger Things. This isn't David Harbour. Honestly, have a look. It's in the Telegraph, apparently.
Oh, my God. Please don't say they've killed him.
Linda Tyler, make the blooming most of it, because next week it's back to normal temperatures. Wet. Garden needs wet. Garden needs wet.
But do you know what? I'm kind of happy with that. A lot of people find it so difficult, the heat, especially the elderly. It's just horrendous.
But here's the thing. What about ice lollies, as Hazel Malbon was saying? What about ice lollies? Hoses, shorts, T-shirts. Never know how people wear all black or long clothes.
Oh, he's been moved to a maximum security prison.
So he's in transit. He's in transit. Keep the curtains closed on the south-facing windows can keep your house cooler all day and night. Thank you, Kevin Harper. That's good. South-facing windows.
Absolutely.
Keep your curtains closed.
The windows, keep the windows closed and the curtains closed.
But guess what? There is a global shortage of
Chlorine.
Flakes for 9.99s.
Oh, and chlorine. So a lot of swimming pools are closed today.
So swimming pools have closed, and if you want your flake 99, you might not be able to get any because they're apparently Cadbury's, I think, manufacture them in the Middle East, and they can't get them over to us. So yeah, flakes are short.
Cold water in a hot water bottle at bedtime, or even better, freeze it. But of course, only half fill it because it will grow and expand. So half freeze, put it in a plastic bag, and then put it in your bed for put your cold feet on.
What's your favourite ice lolly?
Also,
Tell us your favourite ice lolly.
Also, there's these towels that you can put on your dogs to keep them cool, and you can put it on yourself.
Oh look, Gigi, 6 months pregnant in this heat is awful.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the thunderstorm at the weekend. I love a good thunderstorm. Ice in front of a fan.
Yeah, that's another way.
But
you know what? You know a really good way, if you really are beside yourself, just think, I can't do this in my whole body. Fill the bath to about that much and stand in it, and it will cool down your whole body, a cold bath if you can't bear a cold shower, and also to run your wrists, put your wrists under cold running water, and it cools down your blood.
Oh, there you go. Some favourite ice lollies here. Knobbly Bobbly, Ruth Blandford.
I don't
Me and the
like
girls
them.
used to love those when we were little. A Feast, Nicole Marcella.
Don't like them.
Strawberry ice lollies. Sonia, do you remember Raspberry Split? Was it Raspberry Split?
Yeah, we love a raspberry split.
Strawberry Split.
Yeah. Soleros are nice to cool
Tangle
down.
Twister. Magnum, Fiona Grockett, that's Nanny Dye's one of choice. Strawberry Split ice lollipop.
Ah, but does a Magnum cool you down, or does a Magnum just cheer you up because it's so fantastically
and it's
sweet?
creamy as well, isn't it?
I love a praline Magnum. It's my favourite.
Do you?
Yeah.
Funny feet, says Lisa Robson.
Loved funny feet, but they melt so quickly you have to eat them so
And their
quickly.
toes have become tight. I
Do you
thought
remember
Karen
those
Oliver, I thought it said
frozen-
Rocket Willie.
Do you remember those frozen pyramids? What were they called?
Oh yeah. What were
And you
they?
just
Yeah.
suck them for hours
Yeah,
and
they were
hours.
literally just, you tear
Just
the bottom
frozen squash, weren't
Ali
they?
P likes a cider lolly. Oh,
Yeah, cider lolly.
Okay, Lee
You
Pear.
know you can make them with real cider. Get those, you know.
Oh,
lollipop
what can you buy
holders.
them as well? Look, Lee
Make them yourself.
Lee likes a pistachio magnum. Very fancy.
Pistachio. Only you would fucking know
I've never
there's
seen a pistachio magnum. Let me just get that.
A pistachio magnum. No, I'll get it.
Okay. So, what about Rebel Wilson? That's our final story of the day. I just thought I'd pull this up because it was something that landed over the weekend, and it just drew my attention to coming out. And how do you feel about Rebel Wilson essentially having her arm forced? Has Rebel been treated fairly? So this is the idea that she came out as being in a same-sex relationship, and finding her Disney princess, and everyone obviously was very excited because, of course, this is very positive because she's come out. It's another person in the public eye who's come out. But then it's since transpired that behind the scenes, an Australian tabloid had basically given her 27 hours to respond to the fact that they were going to publish the story.
So horrible.
And I just find this really
so
horrible. What do you think?
Just briefly on what that feels like when you get a call from a paper saying, and it's so manipulative, we want to give you the chance to tell your side of the story. And of course, always the decent thing is to not tell your side of the story. So, but once they've done that, they've kind of like morally cleared themselves. And if you refuse to do your side of the story, then they just print whatever they want and they'll say no comment from the person. And it's the most horrible feeling. So with something, I mean, for me, it's never been anything as personal. For something as personal as this, that will have devastated her. That phone call will have been horrific. The panic, the thought that it's going to come out before you can tell people that are close to you, absolutely despicable behaviour. And thank God it doesn't happen as much as it used to now.
Andrew Hornery, who is the veteran gossip columnist in Australia, even had the sort of wherewithal to gripe, oh, she opted to gazump my story by sharing the news herself.
It's her life. It's not she gazumped my story. This is your fucking life you're talking about.
Yeah, so, I mean, so there's a call for certainly
Really
Australian
shocking.
media to do some analysis. I don't know, is this something that still happens here, where they out people as...
Well, since
gay? What do you think about that?
what's it called, all the cases, Mark? Since the,
Yeah.
Leveson
Yeah, yeah.
inquiry. Before the Leveson inquiry, I mean, it was the wild fucking West. I'm telling you.
But is there an onus
So it's much
on
better here
outing, but on the sort of homosexuality, people's
Can't do that
sexual?
here.
You can't.
No.
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 What do
you
you
can't
think, guys?
that
Do you
now.
think she's been treated fairly? No. Yes.
And
I mean,
I know that, like, honest women, we have to be, you know, it's always about being very careful. If you know that somebody is gay, but they haven't said it out in the public, there's always a warning and then another warning. Be careful that this
But
isn't
there's often a lot of people who feel. I remember in the sort of heady 80s, there used to be. It can be seen as quite politically important that people do come out, can't there? There's sometimes
Yeah,
sometimes there's. I'm just trying to plot the other side of the argument. You know, there's a sort of a belief that it's really important for the good of other people who are coming out or struggling to come out, that people in public positions do come out. But
but
surely everyone
absolutely
has the
fuck all anyone else's fucking business.
Yeah.
And no one has the right to say, you've got to do this for the rest of the world.
Yes.
I mean, imagine any situation where that I might say that you might be told, well, you know, you've come out as being an alcoholic, but imagine if we were getting, and it could have been, if Mark hadn't been public, we could have easily got a call from a newspaper saying, well, listen, it's in the public interest. There's lots of people he could help by coming out and saying that he's an alcoholic. And we're going to print the story anyway, because it's a matter of, you would be outraged. And so imagine this so deeply personal. And especially, you know, when you're talking about, and this could be the same, you don't have to be a movie star, any job. So aside from the personal stuff, this could affect a person's career being outed.
Creatorholic, I find it weird that anyone needs to tell everyone what their sexual preferences are.
Yeah.
It's so sad. Haven't we moved forward
So
enough yet
old-fashioned.
where we don't judge people on things like this? Yeah, it's a bit. But apparently, I mean, a number of the people who were outing Rebel were gay themselves. It was. So I find that strange.
Well, because some members of the community get very angry when somebody won't say, because they see it as you know, as a denial of them. You know, but you can't do that. You just, no.
Shelley Silver, it's no one's business. I think it's wrong to force people. My son felt ready at 13 years old, but not everyone does. I think even if you want to go, surely even if you want to keep it private all your life, isn't that your right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. Well, there you go, guys. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be with you all. The poll, 85% feel she's been treated badly. 15% of you, though, don't. So perhaps, you know, there is still that opinion.
It's nice to see, because we mustn't sit here and be in our own echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, and on that note, maybe Truss has
very
got a
well.
lot to say. All right, guys, have a lovely day.
Bye,
As I
guys.
say, there will be a ramping up of content as it starts to land on the channel. Lots of love, guys, and thanks again